I think one of the concerns that I have about the new media is the sense of instant gratification, the degree to which someone can instantly get information, the way that they can instantly post, blog, the way that they can instantly shoot a video and then upload it. The eclipse of distance is going to create an experience of insatiability. It's as if insatiability comes from having too little distance or too little difference. Now, this can be seen in so many things. There's so many aspects of life where what we experience is a kind of insatiability because every time a little bit more is added without enough distance, it just is less of an effect for that thing. It is a little bit of money added to a little bit of money is a lot, but a little bit of money added to a lot of money isn't much of a difference. Did you ever wonder why a word, when you say it over and over, becomes meaningless? I mean, isn't that odd? Did you ever notice that before? Sometimes you'll say a word, like if I say a word pickle, and then I say pickle, 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 suddenly it just sounds like a noise. And I think the reason is because it loses its value, its meaning, because it's now surrounded by too much sameness. It doesn't have enough distance and difference, enough relation to what it's not, in order to maintain its integrity and its value. This is true of why sometimes cigarette smokers report that the first cigarette of the day is the best cigarette. There are so many ways that we could look at this phenomena of firsts and the difference of a first from a last. And so the notion of distance and difference, I think it's part of our experience of value. This is why Simmel's work is so important for people who want to understand how this relates to money. But it has relations to the way that people uh, deal with all items of value. So it is certainly language, it is work horizons, it has to deal with sexuality, with drugs, with appetites. Um, there's a famous saying in the ancient world, right? I think it's attributed to one of the Stoics. I'm not sure if it's Epictetus or not, but he says, "Yeah, appetite is the best sauce." Yeah, appetite is the best sauce. That's a funny expression. I think we all know that there can be too much of a good thing. Yeah, to say there's too much of a good thing means there's not enough distance or difference between and around that thing. But I think in our culture, we think more, quicker, quicker, and that we will be more happy or more satisfied by greater ease of more access to more information, more ability to satisfy desire without having to overcome distance and difference. And yet that may not really be the most effective way to establish meaning or value. There's a great story in The Wisdom of the Sands that Saint-Exupéry tells where he talks about a chieftain who sets a well way out in the middle of a desert, and so that these soldiers are marching out towards it, and it's the distance toward it, the struggle toward it, that partly shapes the actual taste of the water and the experience of satiation that one gets from the water. But he says foolish ones will come along and they will look and they will see the men hovering around the well, and they'll see them blooming into a radiance as the cup gets poured from lip to lip, and as the men bond over the water. He says the foolish ones will say, look, the water has made the men as one. You should put wells all the way along and they can always be as one. And he says, people don't see the invisible lines of tension, the invisible lines of force. And it's those invisible lines of difference and distance, I think people need to understand if they're going to understand what could be called the non-linear dimensions of communication. Communication has non-linear dimensions, and those are the kinds of things that someone would want to, I guess, be concerned with when they're going to deal with issues of difference and distance and how those relate to value. Okay, thanks.